Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the first eChinacities live stream. Today we're having a seminar talking about interview skills to get your ideal job in China. I won't be talking. Today we have a special guest, Dawn Huang. She has over 10 years experience in human resource management with a master's degree from the UK. I can't do her enough justice, so let her also give a quick brief introduction to herself.
Hello, everybody. I hope you had a very good time so far. My name is Dawn Huang. I've been working in China and in the UK for almost 15 years. I work in HR industry as a hiring director. During the past 10 years, I mainly recruiting experts in over 100 countries for the Chinese company. So today, if you have any questions regarding job search, prepare CVs, interview questions in China, for the job in China, please feel free to ask me.
Yeah, that's great. So we can start going over just the main points.
Okay.
So when you're getting a job in China, what is the first thing we should talk about?
You probably, it depends, I think for today's audience, some of you are already in China and some of you may still abroad. Then if you're still abroad, you probably want to know, which channel, you want to looking for a job. Then, eChinacities.com is definitely a main, channel for you to get a job. It's definitely, because our company been working with eChinacities for almost 8 years. We've been hiring experts all over the world. eChinacities is one of our channels, so it's very useful. They're very, very well connected with Chinese employer. So that's for people who have not in China. For people who are already in China, you probably already been to quite a few interviews. You probably had some successful interviews because in China, more and more employers really have the real needs for experts. They have a real job for international people to help them. Then today, let us know if you cannot hear us clearly. Let us know. Do we know how many people online?
Right now, 2.
Oh, okay, good. Very good. Very good. Today, the points I like to cover will be the job search in China, and then how to prepare your CVs, how to write your CVs, and then the interview processing start with your dressing code, your behavior during the interview, and the way you express yourself, just like we're talking now, the way I express myself, how you actually, convey your thought to the people who are in front of you, and also the answer questions. All the interview questions are designed by the interviewer, how you have to be prepared before you go to the interview. And then after the interview, you ask questions. Then what kind of questions you should ask, then I'll tell you. I also like to go through how to identify the job is real or fake. Because a lot of you in China probably already realized there are a lot of jobs actually fake ones. They're not real job. They're just probably face jobs. They want you to show the face only. You actually don't have to do anything. I believe the people with a degree come to China, you're actually looking for a career and progress. And you don't want to just show around your face, probably, Unless you're traveling in China and you want an income, then that's another case. And then last, I will, tell you how to identify a good employer. So this will be the, topics I like to cover. And these topics actually, I work with all this, all this in the past 10 years, because I have, I probably interview over 300 experts from the world a year. And then the job we're hiring are the, middle level jobs, like quite high paid jobs, like 500,000 Chinese money per year. So those kind of jobs. So the interview questions we designed are designed for those people, but I'm sure it will be good for you as well. So we're gonna start. So let's start. Let's first start with a job search. For people already in China, you probably know for the English job site, eChinacities is definitely the number one in the gateway. So for the other Chinese website, the Chinese employer, a lot of them actually still don't struggle to understand the English, so they prefer a Chinese CV. So if you submit your CV through the job site, you probably want to prepare a Chinese and English CV. Just get your friends, write you a CV in Chinese. That will help you a lot.
It's not mandatory, but it does help out a lot.
Yeah, definitely help a lot. Because there's no one is coming to tell you, oh, sorry, I didn't select you because I don't understand English, So there's no employer will tell you that. So secondly, the CV. Do you know actually for the HR people, do you know how long it take them to view one CV? It's actually 10 seconds. So all the CVs piled up in front of the hiring managers, in front of hiring manager. It's actually 10 seconds each CV. What they do is they screen from top to down. They're looking for the main point they're looking, So if you write down a lot of irrelevant stuff, you end up actually stop them from selecting you. So they will not have a good impression over you.
So what is irrelevant?
Okay, a good question. The irrelevant will be, before you write your CV, actually you should read the job description first. So in fact, I suggest you have 2 to 3 different CVs. Not different, but focusing on different area. For example, if you apply finance jobs in your CV, you need to recall all your finance work experiences and all your studied qualifications and then knowledge. Just focus on this part and ignore all the irrelevant things.
Bhavana Narula asked, is it still preferable for the resume to be in Chinese while applying to international companies where Mandarin speaking is not a must?
Okay. Thank you, Narula. Havana. Thank you for the question. For this question, okay, because majority of the international companies, majority of the staff, they are still Chinese. It doesn't matter it's an international company or it's a local Chinese company. The staff, they're still Chinese. So if you write a CV in Chinese, that will definitely help them to understand you more, especially understand your highlights, So it's definitely a plus.
So yeah, not a requirement, but definitely preferable. If you do it, you have a much higher chance.
Definitely, especially when important point is HR people is for general hiring. The people who decide whether they hire you or not will be the business unit. For example, if your CV is really qualified for senior jobs, and you probably done a lot of technical things which HR may not understand, then for the English it's even harder for them to understand. Then in that case, you write a Chinese CV that will help the HR to understand you, so that you easily pass the first selection. Then your CV will have the opportunity to be seen by the important people, by the business unit people. So I hope I answered your question. And then, okay, see the CV. I just mentioned the CV just a minute ago. How you prepare your CV. I actually seeing a lot of people are very good on writing the CVs, writing a lot of stuff, full of information. What I suggest is put your information and experiences into different category. So to make your CV more clear, more logical, because people like to see clear, a logical, CV rather than a messy, full of information, get a headache. And also, a lot of people write CVs to write everything. What I suggest you to put your relevant experiences and also tell people what you gained from these experiences, because the skills are transferable. And the skills you gain from job A will definitely benefit your job B. So tell them that, just put 1 or 2 lines on each, job experiences that what I gained, communication skills, or say I gained customer service attitude, which will benefit my next job. See that kind of thing.
For the resume, one of the things I've always wondered is about photos. Lots of people put their photo on a resume. Some people refuse to put a photo. What's your opinion on this?
Okay, well, this is a very interesting question. Because I worked in the UK for almost 6 years. In the UK, you're not required to let people to put a photo. You can't have to request people put a photo unless they want to,
Sure.
unless they're willing to. So, but in China, 99% employer or maybe 100% employer want to see a photograph because they like to see you first. Because in ancient China, there's an old saying, is to understand you by seeing your face, by seeing your eyes. So try to get a professional, neat photograph,
So not a selfie.
Selfie. Selfie, well, just get a professional photograph. Try to show your professionals. A lot of people, put a photograph like a modeling, or with a very short skirt walking on the street, or dancing, but that's really unprofessional. The employees, yes, you look so really handsome and beautiful, pretty, but however, this is not a show. This is a job interview at the end of the day. So just give a 2 inches, 2 inches professional photograph. It should be okay.
Sure. Laura, I'm sorry, terrible pronouncing names.
Okay.
Laura Rosenklau said, I only started learning the Chinese language. Is it helpful to send a Chinese CV when I'm not fluent in Chinese? Like, is it just misrepresenting myself?
Laura, thank you. I think I don't know, I guess from the name, probably from North Europe. Probably. Sorry if I guess wrong. Very good question. What I mean to say, if your English is starting, but don't write your CV in English by yourself, try to ask a friend. Ask your friend to write the CV for you.
In Chinese.
In Chinese, yes, and don't use the dictionary or the translator because it doesn't make sense at all. A translation is at the end of the day, it's just a machine. It can translate a general meaning. It cannot give you an accurate meaning. So yeah, just ask a friend or a translation agency. It doesn't cost so much though. You can benefit for probably 10 years.
Again, it's not required, but it does help a lot if you do have this.
It helps a lot, but I think some of my candidates, 2 months ago, I hired quite a few finance people from America. So American people, these 2 candidates, what they did is they translated the CV by a dictionary. When I read the CV, it doesn't really make sense at all. So glad I'm a headhunter, so I can help him to modify the CV in Chinese. If I didn't do that, if he actually applied the jobs directly, through the employer, if the employer say this is CV like that, you won't have the chance for a second interview at all. So yeah, have a decent professional CV in Chinese is important. Yeah.
Thank you. So they've organized their CV, and what's the next step then?
Next step will be okay. So you send your CV through through emails or through the job site.
eChinacities.
Yeah, eChinacities, and then you got a call or you get an email saying, oh, okay, we would like to interview you. So now you come to the next stage, which will be the interview process. Start with the call. What you do is you start preparing yourself by a casual and professional dressing code, unless it tells you, oh, you have to wear a suit with a tie, unless it's specific, tell you that. Otherwise, casual smart should be okay, especially the day getting hot and hot,
So what is casual smart?
Casual smart, no jeans, no hat,
Right.
no trailer. Is that
sneakers and trainers?
No, yeah, exactly.
Hoodies?
No. Yeah, maybe t-shirt is okay, but with a professional trousers. Yeah, that should be okay. Casual smart.
Great.
Shirt, t-shirt, both okay, yeah. Look yourself into a mirror. You look smart, then you're okay. And that's the dressing code and behavior. I want to go through the behavior because in the past 10 years, I actually helping the Chinese company hire the expats. A lot of my clients, the employer, tells me that the dressing code, a lot of the expats dress jeans and also late. They're late for 10 or 20 minutes for the interview. So we call this like not very good behavior. And also during the interview, the behavior during the interview, the speed of your talking, you have to be slow down yourself to make sure that people can hear you, they hear your points, they can remember what you're talking, If you speak too fast, people can't remember what you're talking, and also people get headache automatically, especially the language barrier. The hiring manager, their language is not, native language is not English, so you have to bear in mind, They struggle to understand you, so slow down, speak clearly, let people know you, understand you more. And that's the behavior part.
I have a few questions. Samir, is there a possibility for placement in business development executive positions?
Oh, of course, Samir, right. So which means the high-paid jobs, like the senior jobs.
Or
right?
in BD, business development. I can say yes, there are jobs right now on eChinacities for that.
I say yes, because I literally hired a lot of Chinese company, help a Chinese company. Well, okay, in the recent about 20 years, more and more Chinese companies have the demand and the desire to promote their products and services globally, which means they need to hire the local expat locally in about each country. The country they want to go internationalize. So yes, they want to hire. Say for example, if you're from UK, and then they want to promote their products in the UK, then they will hire a local UK people work as a senior salesperson and a BD manager to help them to sell the products, to get connected with the potential user, to open the market, to use the local people's network and the market and the channels to sell. So yes, definitely, there's there's a more sales job than ever.
And the second question is from Anna. What are the best platforms for finding jobs not in Chinese, but international companies that have branches in China?
Branches in China. Well, again, eChinacities is definitely, one of the gateway for expats coming to China. And then you may want to list the international companies you want to work for. You go to their website. Usually, majority of international companies, they actually put their vacancies on their website. They also have a function on their website you can submit your CVs, so they can see, they can see you. They have the function that a candidate can apply jobs through their online. So that's another one.
Failing that, eChinacities is very good too.
Oh, yeah.
Hundreds of new jobs posted every day.
Yeah.
Second question. Victor, what are the usual packages for expats? Considering around 10 years experience and being an expert in a determinate engineering topic, why should they hire and pay more than for Chinese?
Oh.
So why are they paying more for foreign talent?
Okay, so your question is why Chinese company pay more to the expats than
they expect?
Okay, what they expect. Number one, say for example, they for companies who are trying to hire expats because they want to go abroad, their products and services want to go abroad, or they want to try to set up their international images by hiring people from different culture. So because you can achieve the functions or you can achieve all this who cannot be achieved by a Chinese worker. That's why you get paid more. Also, see, if they hire Chinese people to help them open the Spanish market, that will be 10 times slower than to hire a Spanish people to open the market for them. So therefore, you have this unique advantage the language advantage, and also the network advantage in the local market. So all this, also social media and promotion, so all this will be make you stand out. That's why they pay you more.
Sure.
There's one here.
Yeah. So what is the? Sorry about the picture quality. Yes, we're going through a VPN right now, so please bear with us. It should pick up very soon. So for benefits in the package that they're offering foreign talents with an engineering background, what kind of benefits can they expect?
Oh, okay. What kind of benefits an engineer can? Right, it's all different. See, for example, we help Google to hire people from North Europe in about 5 years ago. That was 5 years ago. So they hired 20 people from North. Yeah, they helped 20 people from 5 different countries in North Europe. Then they come to China, work as a localization engineer. So, and then because the company is big, it's quite large, they give you the more benefit than small businesses. For example, relocation package, they help you to relocate, help you to move around and stuff, and then they give you a dormitory, but you still need to pay, even though, because I'm talking about in Beijing though. In Beijing, it's very expensive for housing, so I doubt any company have free housing, unless they're, remote the location is in remote area. So the large company gives you that relocation, give you the housing, but you still need to pay. But you don't have to look in, you don't have to search in. That saves you a lot of time. And then you have the benefit for the pension, social insurance, some housing allowance. Some of the large companies, they have their own canteen. The canteen that you pay very little money for your lunch. I think that would be pretty much everything, Yeah.
Great. And what do you think about job opportunities for people with no or very little experience?
Oh, okay. That would be entry-level job. That's have no problem.
Entry-level.
Yeah, as I said, in China, we have the population 1,400 million people in China. We have more businesses. We have a lot of opportunities. In the past, I have seen and I met a lot of new graduates and even university students coming to China with no job experiences. But during the interview, you have to tell them, I have my language advantage and I'm willing to learn. I'm interested in your business and your products. I'm willing to contribute my, talent. So yeah, you get an entry job, quite easily. It's not difficult.
Nice. Very good. And just give it a like. So moving on. So now you've found your job. You're dressed, and you're going onto your interview.
You're going to interview.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to interview. Then.
So culturally,
okay.
What's the major difference between a Western style interview and a Chinese style interview?
Okay. Because I study human resource in UK, so I kind of know the employment law in the UK. And Europe is very similar. UK law is similar to European. And then now I work in China for almost a year as well. So the culture is, it's very, very different. In China, there's no specific law to restrict employer for interview questions. So please be prepared. If they ask you how old you are you married, how many children in your family, please don't get offended if they ask you this question. You still can choose not to answer by politely tell them, I'm sorry, I don't feel comfortable to tell, but yeah. But I think majority of the guys, they don't mind. They will tell, I'm single, I'm get married, So it doesn't really. The reason they ask this kind of questions is because for women, if you have a child, it's probably difficult to relocate you, or it's difficult for you to do any overtime work. So in that case, you don't have to tell them, the truth. Yeah, just be diplomatic. Just get around with questions.
Don't lie, just.
Yeah, exactly. Don't lie. That's important. Don't lie, because when you lie, when you lie, from the psychology point of view, your eyes actually looks different. You probably wouldn't notice, but the interviewer, they will make you notice immediately. So yeah, tell the truth.
Oh, so we've got a few more questions before we move on again.
Okay.
So for students studying engineering, what's the possibility of them to get a job directly after graduation? Do you think it's a possibility in China?
In China, for the engineers, we have a lot of different engineers. Depends on what kind of engineers work you are. Like a computer engineer is definitely easy because the IT internet industry is booming. You get an internship easily. But then for the other engineers in the manufacturing, it's difficult because in China, majority of the manufacturers, the people don't speak English. It's probably a big issue for them to read your CV first.
Sure.
And then even you are given a job, who is going to tutor and monitor you and give you a job and review your job from time to time? So it's a big challenge for them, for the engineer jobs.
Generally for like the engineering jobs, they require a few years of experience, and at that time when you work in China, you'll be actually at a more managerial level. You'll be supervising the Chinese engineers doing things.
Yeah.
So they expect you to have a knowledge and a good background with that kind of work. So directly after graduation, it's not impossible, but it does require.
It's harder. Yeah, it's harder.
Exactly. Excellent. Thank you for your question. What do you think of hiring preferably native speakers for teaching fields? How can other nationalities be considered in this field with rich experience as well?
As a teacher.
As an English teacher.
Oh, as an English teacher.
Yeah.
As far as I know, I think a lot of the education in the education industry, I don't think maybe the preference will be the English native speakers. But however, I have quite a few friends from Philippines, India, Africa. They have a job, and even Russia. Sorry, not even Russia. And Russia as well, they get a very good paid job, work as a teacher in the kindergarten. So I don't think there's a problem as long as you show your talent, as long as you show your English and your confidence during the interview. I don't think it's a problem. No, the Chinese people don't actually choose nationalities, as a teacher.
There's a little bit more scrutiny when you're not coming from a native English background. But as long as you have the qualifications, it's okay. They just recently passed a law for the Filipinos being able to get legally work, get the qualified foreign expert certificates for teaching English in China. That was a few days ago.
Oh, that's very good. Good to know.
That was a good question. How to build a career path inside a Chinese company. I've heard that it's difficult for an expat to get promoted.
Once you have made it. Okay, thank you, Victor. This is a very good question. Actually, this is a decent question. It all depends. Probably from the very start, you have to, you need to let your team leader, the managers know you determined to stay longer, not just 1 year or 2 years. Tell them you want to stay longer, and then they will consider to promote you, and even they put you to a what's that called? Trainee management role. Trainee management role. So once you get trained in different sections, then they start to promote you. And also, you need to show your commitment and also your progress. I think, and also good communication with your team member, line manager. Tell him you want to progress within the company. I think they will be very happy for that. Yeah. But then if you don't show your expectation, they wouldn't know what you want, because the majority of expats coming to China do stay for a few months or 1 to 3 years, So that's why it's difficult for the expat to get promoted.
But you can use your work experience to then transfer to a high-level job in a different company. This is the other route that they can take. If your company doesn't promote you any higher, right? Yeah,
exactly. And also you can look for a senior career progress in another company but the same industry. Just try not to jump from industry to industries. Try to focus on one industry and stay for 3 to 5 years, and then you will be really valuable. Your CV will be valuable to the headhunter's eyes, also to the employer's eyes.
Excellent. So Anna also asked, she missed the part about internet platforms for finding jobs. So the best internet platform would be eChinacities. because that's our company, so you should go there. But also you mentioned that going on the corporate websites of other companies, and you can apply to them directly. But if you want a comprehensive list, eChinacities.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I hope that answered well. What are Chinese companies mostly looking for in potential foreign employees?
In potential employees. Looking for potential employees, what's that mean? Chinese companies.
So when they're looking for a foreigner to come into fill a position, what are the key points they're looking for?
With the key points, it depends actually. Different companies have their different demand and perspective. See, for example, in education, probably the language will be what they're looking for, and then the language, and also your image is international to show that a kindergarten and or their education institution is internationalized. So, but for the company looking for a salesperson, sales or marketing, they're looking for your localization ability. Localization ability means you help their company go abroad, at least in your country, to help them to go globally, start from your country. That's what they're looking for. And they're looking for multicultural actually. Another thing is they try to improve the workforce English level. So they try to have a few experts to make their workforce speak English fluently. This actually is one of the benefits for the company to provide to their staff. For this is number one. Number two, different culture can make their workforce more interesting. Because if a company trying to go globalization, they have to understand multicultural. How can they understand multicultural? By having people from different culture, different country, understand you, therefore understand your country. So to benefit their strategy,
There's also a second question about what are the requirements for getting a working visa? This is a very common question for many people who have not visited China before. As human resource
visa,
I'm sure you have a lot of insight into that, right?
Okay, yeah.
Z visa.
For Z visas, it takes actually 1 to 3 months because number one is time consuming. They worry about you quit the job after 6 or 1 year. 1 to 3 years, 1 to 3 months getting the visa is a long process. And it takes at least one person to handle this. So there's a lot of work. So then, time consuming, number one. Number two, majority of the Chinese company really don't understand this process, and it's very complicated. It's quite complicated. That's why they, even though the work visa doesn't really cost much, there's only one step cost much, which will be in entry and exit of police office. That the visa itself costs 1,600 Chinese money. For all the other procedures, it doesn't cost money because there are 5 steps applying the work visa, 5 steps. Only the final steps cost money. For the first 4 steps, it doesn't cost money, but it only costs time.
So for a foreigner, they've talked to their company, and when they apply for their visa in their home country, what documents do they need to supply?
Oh, okay. Well, for this one, number one, I think there's a 5 elementary. Even that tells you, but this should be prepared by the employer, because even that tells you, you wouldn't be able to have that, like business license,
right.
Tax, license, all that sort of thing. So the company should do that for you. What I can suggest is you're looking for a visa agency. Introduce the visa agency to your company. Let the company pay for the agency to deal with that. Is that a lot easier?
Right. Even a lot of travel companies also handle the visa processing. They'll take it directly to the embassies for a lot of visas, not all of them, but a lot of them. So that's also another method to do it.
That's another option. Just make sure they're doing the Z visa for you. That's quite important, Z visa. That's the requirement from the police.
Right. Don't come here on a tourist visa.
It don't, because the police do check the companies regularly from time to time, because our company got checked quite a few times in the past. So, and then because we hired quite a few people from Holland, but fortunately, they all have the right visa, so we're okay. Otherwise, the company and yourself will get, penalty, quite high amount of money. So it doesn't worth to risk.
In terms of negotiating a salary, is it an advantage or a disadvantage to be already in China? What do you think?
This is a very interesting question. Negotiate a salary. In China, people really, in China, we don't have the tradition to negotiate a salary. However, in the recent 10 years, because I work for a, international headhunting firm, and I help my candidates negotiate the salary a lot from time to time, because a lot of the candidates feel shy to negotiate, and a lot of the employers don't accept candidates directly negotiate the salary. So, but however, if you don't have a headhunter help you, so then I suggest you do it in a diplomatic and a polite way by giving a fact. For example, if the salary they offer you is, say for example, is $20,000 per year, for example, is that enough? No? Okay. It's just an example. And then you feel like you're worth more, and then you can say, the work I'm going to do, I can do it differently. I definitely can do it better than the previously people done. And then tell them how you're going to do it, because employees don't like to listen to this kind of exaggeration. They like to hear the fact from you. Tell them how you're going to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tell them your way. Tell them you're going to, help to improve or increase something.
Your CV should also speak to your strengths, so you should be able to use that during the negotiation process.
Exactly, and also, see that politely. If it is face to face, put a smile on your face, and then also tell if the salary is really too low for you, then tell them, look, I need a comfortable life to be able to make the most of my energy and my strengths. If I struggle with my life here, how can I contribute the most? I cannot. So, and also tell them, it's definitely negotiable. Yeah, just negotiate in a polite way.
The positions advertised on our site, actually, 99% of them have a negotiation bracket. Depending on your ability and experience, you're able to get higher or lower based on that. Most companies on our website are open to the idea of it, so just be prepared for it. Did you need your drink? No. Do Chinese people have a way to analyze your CV? Different way to analyze the CV.
Okay. Compared to the Western countries, or they have different format. Like I said, they prefer to read CVs in Chinese. Well, they have, I would say, there's no much differences between China and the West for the employers to look into a CV. So they like to see how much you have done, how much you did relevant to the job they're looking for. Yeah, that's pretty much the same, really.
Right. I have a dependent visa in China. Will that suffice for me to work in China, or will I need a work visa? Definitely work visa. 99% of the time you'll need a work visa. Dependent visa, I believe, is not legally able to work in China.
No.
So, you will have to change from that into a Z visa.
Yeah.
So, good luck with that. Congratulations on your win. So, moving on.
Okay, we're moving on. Express yourself logically.
Mm-hmm.
During the interview, they will ask you to do a 1 minute self-introduction. So, a lot of people don't understand why 1 minute introduction. You thought they don't know you. They have your CV, you thought they don't know you. They want you to introduce yourself? No. They want to, by this 1 minute, they want to see if you talk in a logic way.
Sure.
Or you talk in a messy, or you have a lot of points coming into together. So, that's really a test. So, prepare yourself. Present yourself in a logic way. Tell them who you are, what you have done in the past. Tell them you're happy to come in. They don't want to see you tell them what you did in the past, everything you did in the past. No, just highlight yourself for this 1 minute. Be confident and clearly and talk to them. That's what they want to say, really, for this first 1 minute. And then they're going to ask you questions. For the questions, you need to be prepared before you go into the interview. For example, their products. They probably will ask you, oh, do you know our products? What's our products? What's our services? So you need to really study their products. Go to their website, take a look, and then maybe write it down on a little note,
Do your research.
Yeah, do your research.
So I've often heard that a Chinese company will ask, why did you leave your last job?
Oh, yeah.
What's a good response to that?
Okay. So we come to these interview questions. This will be also one of the questions.
Okay.
For that, you never mention anything negative about your previous, employer. This is the same in China and also in the West, because all employees are very worried about the employee talk about, on their back. So just say something negative. Just say, because of a personal reason, I want to move forward of my career, and then what I wanted cannot be achieved anymore in my current job. I cannot get promoted. Or you see, or if the company you left is really, really awful, you probably want to say, I'm actually looking for a well-organized company so I can learn more because I'm still young. I want to learn more, and my past company is good enough, but it's not really suit my further need anymore. So yeah, just say that kind of thing.
Thanks. Sorry, quick question. How do we know if a company is legally registered under the government's labor bureau? Well, when you're applying for a visa, they have to give you the business license. So if they're supplying you this, it's pretty
much they legally registered. And the registered company in China is quite easy. It's very easy. It's a lot easier than 30 years ago. 30 years ago, they required a lot of things, but now they don't. The registration fee from 100,000 down to 10,000. So register a company is easy. So yeah, just get the business license, or just go to, I think it's got a www. There's a website. You put the name on, they tell you how many years the company established, and also their benefits as well. But you have to understand the Chinese to be able to do that.
Website?
Yeah, okay. It's a Chinese website. And also you go to Glassdoor. If it's a large company, you go to Glassdoor. You can see all the people who left the company, the feedback from them. So do a research.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, always research any job you're going to.
Exactly.
Never blindly accept anything or apply for anything.
No, yeah. So for the interview questions, again, they're also ask you why you coming here to apply the jobs, and also the big thing, and there's another trait is they will ask you what's your weakness, what's your biggest weakness. So this is a little tricky. If you really tell them your weakness, I think, you're unlikely to be able to get the job. What you do is you tell them the strengths it looks like a weakness, but it's actually your strengths. Say, for example, you can tell your weakness, the past weakness, but you already improved. It's no longer weakness, it's a strength, so things like that.
So turn your weakness into a strength. So don't say you're lazy.
Don't say that.
For example, if one of your weaknesses is that you can't multitask, this is a weakness, right? So you should change it into something where you say, I've become very focused on a topic and almost perfectionist. I want to finish it until it's completed. This is a good way of changing it. And then for your past skills, for example, something that you were unable to do, but now you can do it very well.
Yeah.
So Chinese, maybe. You could say, in the past, I didn't have a lot of experience speaking Chinese and working with Chinese culture. After my years of working, I've become much more natural and comfortable in this environment. Make it a positive thing.
Oh, this is very good. Yeah.
I've done many interviews.
So the interview questions, okay.
So what is the next area?
Okay, so the interview questions, there will be, tons of they also will ask you, what's your expectation from the job? What you can do better, what you can do differently. And as I was saying, can you tell us what you learned from your, past job? And also, yeah, let's think like that. So just be prepared. It's just easy questions, Speak up for yourself. Be confident. Yeah, you'll be okay. Okay, that's the interview questions. And after the interview usually take 40 minutes for a professional interview. It shouldn't be more than, should be more than 45 minutes, Sometimes an hour, yeah, 45 minutes to 1 hour. After the interview, they will ask you, do you have any questions? Some of the candidates say, oh no, I'm okay, I know everything. But in fact, the employer expects you to ask questions to show you're really interested in this job. You may ask, when you're trying to ask questions, to remember the 4C, connect, culture, challenge, close. Connect means try to ask questions that connect you and the interviewer closer. Say for example, this is how long you been working here? Then by asking this question, you can know if the people here are stable. You also can ask, what is the most impression you had from last interview of expert? You can know the preferences from her or him, from the interviewer.
So you want to make a connection with them. So you're not just another face. They see you and they remember you.
Yeah, let them remember you. Yeah, very good understanding. So that's connect. And then you ask culture. Just see. Today I'm coming for an interview. I'm coming from Spain. What do you expect me to wear? This is okay. This is a very friendly chatting, but you can make them very happy because they feel like you respect them, and also you respect the Chinese culture. So and also see something in Chinese, even though you don't understand, you can't speak too much, but a few words will really help let people feel you respect the culture. That's the culture, and then challenge. Challenge you can ask. For my job, what will be the biggest challenge in the future? So by asking this question, you will know their expectation. Because a lot of people on board, after they're on board, they still don't know the expectation from their employer. They don't know what to do every day. And then after 1 or 3 months, they quit it because they have nothing to do every day. They come to tell me, don't I quit the job? I said, why? Because no one gives me work and I don't know what they expect. I said, did you communicate with them? Did you ask? What do you expect me? So, and then close. Try to see something close to this interview because it's already finished, Just say, I'm very happy to be here. I hope I can hear from you very soon. And what will be the next stage, by the way? By asking these kind of questions, you will know how long they're going to call you back. What will be the next procedure? Do you need to come in over or, So ask this 4C. They will be happy, They know you're interested.
We'll just go to a quick question. We're going a little longer than expected. Are you okay?
I'm okay.
All right, cool. How to integrate with a team if the English level is not that good? You could feel pretty isolated and out of place.
Okay.
So do you have any advice? I have some advice for that.
Oh, please, yeah.
Yeah. It's common when you come from a different culture, and especially with the language barrier, it can be difficult initially if it's your first time living abroad. But the main point is don't be shy and just ask questions. If you don't understand why someone is doing something or eating something, talk to them about it. Most people are more than happy to share their experiences, their perspectives, and their customs with you. Just don't be shy. Just say yes to everything. If your coworkers are going out for dinner and they invite you, then go with them. Don't shy away from these experiences just because you feel out of place. Because you feel out of place, you will be out of place. So make yourself naturalized in the environment, and then you won't have any problems.
Very good. Again, this is a cultural thing. In Chinese culture, they're very welcoming the people from other part of the world. They like you. It's just that they're shy. Some of them may come to you to talk to you actively. Some of them maybe observe you. They wait for you to come to talk to them. If you come to talk to them, they're really, really happy. So I understand if you feel isolated, because in the past I have quite a lot of candidates who feel being isolated as well because they're shy. So you come into another country, which means you're not really a shy person. Otherwise, you wouldn't take this challenge. Look, what a big challenge coming to Asia to meet with the people who doesn't speak that much English here. So you are brave. You are a fighter. So then just fight yourself with your little shyness. Yeah, talk to them.
Take the initiative. They're probably just as shy, probably more shy than you are. So take the initiative and talk to them. And yeah, you'll make some really great work friendships. It's the best advice I can give.
Definitely, definitely.
So
next, I'm going to tell you how to identify the job is real or fake. Because in China, like I said, in each country, I guess, in each country you do have the companies have the fake jobs. It doesn't really exist. So same in China. I have actually witnessed some of the small organizations. They just only want a foreign face. They want to have an international face. They don't have a real job for them. But it's not fair because the people with a degree come to China, they really want a career. They want to start a career. They want to do things, contribute. They don't want to walk around and show their face. So how to identify the job as real? Okay, take a look at the job description. If there is any content in it, and also during the interview, ask them, what I will be doing 9 to 5. Can you tell me? Give me an example. Tells me, So if they can't tell you anything, they just say, oh, you just come, stay down here. When the guests come, you just prepare the tea or the drinks, which means it's a very simple work. So you will, before you start, you will already figure out what kind of job that is. For a real job, it definitely have a detailed job description. And also a prospection and a demand. It demands you for certain skills and a certain degree. So that's the way to identify. And also, you can go to their offices, take a look how many people work there. If it's an empty luxury office or one person, it means you're not going to do it too much. So yeah, that's my tips on this.
Very nice. Victor asks how to cope with overtime issues. It is quite common here, as you know. Should I take for granted, or will I need to do them? Check emails after work and even during weekends, especially with WeChat, which is a fantastic invention for that.
Yeah, but work overtime. In my company, we never require staff to do any work overtime. Because, myself understand it's not fair. People do need their own private time to take their holidays and take their leisure time. However, unfortunately, work overtime is a culture in here in China, especially in IT industry. Some of the IT company like the QQ company, Tencent, or Baidu, they even prepare a bed for you underneath your table, underneath your office table, because if you work overtime, you're entitled to have a free meal and a free bed. You sleep there. So look, it's a trend and a culture here to work overtime. So how to cope with this? You just have to see, for example, just see how many hours they want you to do it with. If it is only 30 minutes, or just see what your coworkers do. If every single of your coworkers do overtime, then you probably have to, But again, during the interview, you can ask these questions. I don't mind overtime, but I'd like to know how, what will be the overtime like? How many hours we have to work overtime? Just to be prepared yourself, Just in case you lose the job opportunity, don't tell them you don't do overtime. Just say, I'm just interested to know, So don't tell them you want overtime or you don't. So overtime, then again, if you do too long hours work time, you can tell them, look, I'm an expert, I'm coming here. I have a lot to do, I don't, I have an issue work long hours after, for the overtime. But however, if it is only check a message, so WeChat, then over the weekend, it depends on what job you are, depends on how much you get paid. If you get paid, let's say more than 200,000 per year, then you probably, need to check your emails. But if you get paid the entry level, salary, then you don't have to at all. You just tell them.
And also, some of your bosses may just constantly message you. the best thing to do, especially on WeChat, is establish clear boundaries. If you reply instantly every single time, then they will contact you every single time they need to. They won't wait. So, also control yourself. Although if it's important, do it.
Yeah.
It's better to do it now than later.
Yeah, I mean, what Ronnie, oh, by the way, the gentleman sitting next to me called Ronnie from Australia. I think himself is a very, very good example for you guys, for all of us really, because he is just one of you. He from Australia, immediately after graduating probably, and worked in China for 9 years, worked for different companies, also been through a lot of interviews. And he has this experiences back in Australia and in China. So his experience is definitely worth to share with us.
Okay, so we're at 55 minutes now. So we've got a few more questions. Do you want to go over the main points and then we'll answer the questions? We already went much longer than we expected. So.
Okay. So actually, today I actually covered the topics like job searching site, prepare CVs, prepare your interview, including dressing code, behavior, express yourself, answer questions, and ask questions after the interview, and identify the real job or fake job, and also identify the employer, real employer or fake employer. We pretty much covered everything. Then now let's just answer the questions.
One more point. Post-interview.
Post-interview. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Post-interview. After the interview, it's always good to, during the interview, it's always good to ask for their name card. Yeah, ask for their name card. After the interview, you can write them an email. Just don't call them immediately, because it's not really. I personally don't want strangers call me straight away. I expect a message first, to tell me what's the issue about. So ask for the name card, contact them by email or message. Ask for feedback. Let them remember you, because sometimes if they have 10 people go for an interview for the same job, they may not remember you. So by contact with them actively, then they can remember you, recall you immediately. So that's the post-interview. And then you may not expect a written notice if you failed the interview, because in the UK, it's a law actually. If the candidate requests for a feedback, you have to give, otherwise you break the law. But in China, there is no such law, mention that the majority of the employer may not write a feedback or even, a notice to inform you failed the interview. So just please be prepared.
So if you don't hear back from them in a timely manner, just assume you didn't get the position and keep searching. You should always be having a few options anyway open.
Yeah.
So let's go into the final questions.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So final questions. Anna, does it take less time to get a working visa if a person is already in China? Is it easy to get a Z visa for a foreigner who graduated from Chinese university? Is it possible to change from a long-term business visa into a Chinese visa? So a few questions.
Okay.
Is it easy to get a Z visa for foreigners who graduated in Chinese universities?
Okay. So it looks, all the questions look like I have to tell you all the procedure. It's actually very complicated. It's 10 pages. 10 pages long for getting a visa in China. A work visa. It doesn't really make any differences if you are in China or abroad. And if you are graduated in China or abroad, it doesn't make differences, because for the first step will be you get a pre-visa. For the pre-visa, you need company to contact with the embassy in your country. So it doesn't matter you're in China or abroad, you have to go back first. So take this letter, the company write this letter and with business license, go back to your country, go to the Chinese embassy to get this pre-visa. So it doesn't, So I hope I answered the question.
Right. Usually anytime you're changing your visas, you'll have to return back to your home country. There are very few visas in China that don't require returning. I can't think of any, actually.
Okay.
You always have to return back home to process the new visa. If you're changing from a business visa to a work visa, a student visa to a work visa, or a work visa to a student visa, any kind of change, you'll have to probably go back to your home country.
Yeah, and sometimes people go to Hong Kong.
Oh, yeah.
Go to Hong Kong is another option. If it's too expensive to go back to your country, then ask the visa agency. Tell them, let them make sure go to Hong Kong is really okay. Because sometimes people go to Hong Kong, but it still doesn't work. That waste of your money. Then another thing, once you get the Z visa, if you change your employer, it's by law you have to go to the Labor Bureau to change the Z visa. For this one, for changing employer, it doesn't take too much time, just one day. You take your work visa, go there, tell them you change the employer. So they need you to show a letter and a business license of the new employer. So and then you job done, they're gonna write a new Z visa for you.
And the letters to say that you've left your old company.
Oh yeah.
It's very important to have that.
Yeah, you need a letter from your old employer. So therefore, have always maintain a professional, good relation with your previous employer. Yeah, just don't have a bad relation because they will, they will not helping you providing all these letters. So.
Very good. For Jennifer, she asks, are there any stereotypes that foreigners might need to overcome living in China? As a foreigner living in China, there's some, but there's nothing that really stands out. I mean, you're a foreigner, so in China you are a foreigner. Just that. There's nothing too crazy you have to overcome. It's not a challenge. You'll be fine.
Not too much challenge, as long as I think the language will be the biggest challenge, and the transportation, you get around. Especially you go to interview, your best way is before the interview, you go to the location, the office location first, to measure how long it's going to take you to well prepared. Because you don't want to be late. You want to be 10 minutes early, but don't be too early though. 10 minutes early be good enough. People like to see a well-prepared, elegant, lady or gentleman, just appear in the door. So that'd be nice. A lot of people in a hurry, 20 minutes late, with all the sweating, sweating and breathing, running late. And that way, you cannot have a good interview because yourself are nervous and guilty. And then your interviewer feel, you're late, you're so late, you're not punctualized, you don't respect them. So yeah, just get around, that.
You don't want your first impression to be of you saying sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah. Excellent. If an applicant asks few questions from the employer that may sound like expectations, will that affect the application? How do they take that, for instance? Ask a few questions from the employer.
What's question rating?
From Daryl, this one.
Oh, okay.
If an applicant asks a few questions from the employer that sound like expectations, so if you're asking questions that sound similar to demands.
Oh, okay. Oh, for this question, you probably come in late because we already answered this one. Do ask questions because the employer like that. Just when you ask questions, to try to slow down and make your point clear. Because I ask questions and he asks questions. I ask questions in my manner, clearly, slow down. If he asks questions very, very fast, in 1 minute he asks tons of questions, that actually make your employer nervous, because make them nervous. So yes, do ask questions. My suggestion is that will show you're really interested in this position. Just you don't have to ask how much you get paid for the first interview because you will go through the second interview. Unless you are invited during the interview, how much you want to get paid, then you talk about it, the salary. So yeah.
If you have any expectations, just make sure you frame them positively. Don't carry any negative. If there's something you can't do, then frame them positively and just speak nicely. If you really can't work on a weekend, that's probably okay. But you just need to explain it very positively and very clearly and logically why. Otherwise, they're going to have a bad impression of you.
Yeah, but to be honest, I think professional companies will not require experts to work over the weekends.
Right. Just as an example.
Yeah. Very good example. I'm sure small companies they do ask
definitely
the experts work over the weekends. I heard some of the employer, very small import and export, companies ask experts work 6 days a week. So during the interview, you have to make it clear that how many days I'm going to work, what is the hours like? And then if you don't want to work 6 days and you really like the job, you can tell them, I work really hard and I'm very talented. I can deliver all the work in 5 days rather than wasting the time and deliver all the work in 6 days. You can see that diplomatic and polite. I tell them, I really need my weekends because I need a good rest. So on Monday when I come back, I have more energy. I can deliver more. I can achieve more. So yeah, that is if you really like the job. Otherwise you just sorry, no, I don't work on the weekends at all.
Right. Yeah. So that's all of the questions. So do you want to give just a quick, brief summary of everything we've covered here? Are you able to do that?
Well, I think we, today, for this 55 minutes, it doesn't matter when you come into this live chat room. Maybe you came from the beginning, or maybe you just only came a few minutes ago. Let me just have it wrap up what we did in this 50 minutes. We mentioned the job search site in China, what will be the most effective job site in China, and also how to write a effective CV to attract interviewers' attention, how to best delegate yourself, your past experiences, let them like you by mere screen of your CV. And then the dressing code, we talk about behavior during the interview, express yourself during the interview, ask questions after the interview. After questions after the interview, also be prepared for all the questions. They may ask you some privacies, awkward moments may happen. Just be diplomatic and polite. And don't make lies, always tell the truth. You can choose not to answer questions, but still tell the truth. How to identify a real employer and a fake employer, real job and fake job. And then post-interview and the work visa. So this is all the topics that we covered during this 50 minutes.
Well, thank you very much for watching. One last question. There were so many disconnections during my Skype interview. Do you think it's better to come to China to look for a teaching job there? No. No, because if you come to China looking for a job, you'll be coming on a tourist visa, which means you'll have to return home. It's much more expensive that way. The best thing to do is go to eChinacities.com and search for a job there, and you can find, there's hundreds of teaching jobs posted there every single day. So I'd just like to thank Dawn for joining us today. We'll hopefully have a few more live sessions in the future, covering every kind of aspect of work and life in China. If you enjoyed this, please, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and be sure to visit our website as often as possible. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you very much for coming. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.